Hey everybody, today's video is called How Powerful is Your Response? And today we step out of our pass-through study in the book of Ezekiel. We're going to be looking at our second Topical Saturday for 2025. And my question to start out is, how many of you struggle or even experience anger or rage, such as maybe road rage? Maybe there's other things that set you off in the flesh that you have trouble handling. Some things can be stress, work stress, family conflicts, financial hardship, work issues, or a mental health disorder that's not treated properly. And so there's many things that can really push our buttons out there. And I want to look today in the book of Proverbs chapter 15. We're going to look at verse 1. It says, "A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." So soft does not mean weakness. Soft in the original language, it means gentle, tender-hearted, or gentle nature. In this proverb, it teaches that a wise person will deal with problems gently. And responding in gentleness and patience diffuses anger, and it keeps problems from escalating. And it is unwise to respond unkindly, rashly, or in anger. And is this difficult to do or not? Maybe I'm just preaching to myself. When people come at you in wrath, we are often tempted to want to come back at them at the same level, if not in harder shape. We might be tempted to respond in harshness. Maybe you want to knock them out, depending on what the situation is. Many conflicts arise not because the issues are so great, but because of the temperaments that we bring to those controversial issues. And in verse 2, it says, "The tongue of the wise uses knowledge rightly, but the mouth of fools pour forth foolishness." So if we want to be wise, our tongues will demonstrate it. And what we say proves either our wisdom or our folly. And in verse 3, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good. So we should note that God sees us in every place, even when we are hidden to human eyes. And one saying that came from the military that I hold on to is, always do the right thing, even when you think no one's watching, because God is actually watching. And God will see all evil and good, and God will deal with all accordingly. In verse 4, "A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perversiveness in it breaks the spirit." So good words are like a tree. They bring life, and they have power to do far more harm than we often think. And I want to move forward in the chapter here of Proverbs 15. Proverbs 15:18, and it says, "A wrathful man stirs up strife, but he who is slow to anger allays contention." So Solomon, he reiterates his point of the wise and foolish options. And I want to go over to the book of James. James chapter 1, verse 20. And I'm going to bump it back, do one of my famous things. We're going to start at verse 19. "So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God." So James taught believers that fleshly anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. It says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." So as Christians, if we're going to be wise, we need to bear in mind that God calls us to be peacemakers. In Romans 13:14. Romans chapter 13, verse 14. but put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh to fulfill its lusts. And we got to keep in mind that we cannot let the flesh gratify its desires. And our responses to problems need to acquire forethought, vigilance, and planning before we react. And we need to take the time we need to respond gently. In Galatians chapter 5, verse 22, it says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such there is no law." So we must display the fruit of the Spirit in our walks. And that's going to wrap up our study today. We'll see you next as we're going to be looking at the glory departing the temple in our study. So I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon and a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you back next week, and I'll let you know the schedule. God bless.